Let's move on to UFC 304. It is this weekend, and guys, I can't complain about the card, especially the main card, which is what you pay for because this is a pay-per-view. And a quick reminder: Goes and I will be hosting a watch-along here on MMA Junkie. It starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific for 4 prelims, and then we go to the main card. Where if you choose to buy it, we'll watch along with you, and if not, we'll be your eyes and ears. We'll tell you what's happening in real time. Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad in the main event. Edwards, the undisputed welterweight champion, took a long time to get this thing done, guys. But is it a highly anticipated matchup amongst MMA fans? What do you think, Fadi? You'll be in Manchester covering it. Do you like the anticipation of it all, or is Muhammad just not really been that guy? I guess to get us so pumped up over a fight that took so long to get together.
I think as of late now, I mean, obviously Bilal's been doing a lot of media from the get-go. Leon recently fulfilling his media obligations. Bilal constantly complains about Leon not building this fight. But at the end of the day, I think the storyline's there. It is kind of unfinished business. The way the fight ended, Bilal hasn't lost since then. They're both on these really, really good unbeaten streaks. And I think now people are just looking at it as in what will happen if Bilal wins. Like, he will the MMA world will go crazy type of thing. Like some people even thinking that the UFC will go crazy if he wins for some reason. Like it's just, I think the build up and the confidence that Bilal has shown. I've spoken to him on multiple occasions. He believes he's going to dominate Leon. Leon believes he's going to dominate Bilal. I think there are certain elements to this fight, the storyline of this fight that make it interesting. I mean, Bilal, at the end of the day, whether people like it or not, is the rightful number one contender. Then there are questions: is Leon motivated? Leon has been so dismissive of Bilal throughout. But then again, he's accepted the fights that he got offered for UFC 300. They threw Islam, they threw Shafkat, they threw Hamzat. He said yes to all of those fights. You can't be scared of anybody if you're saying yes to those fights. So I think maybe because some people are looking at the first fight and saying, Leon won round one comfortably. He rocked him. Maybe Leon is finding it hard to get up for this fight, but it's like obviously it will be a big mistake if he underestimates Bilal. So many little questions that I have surrounding this fight that make it interesting for me. And I think Bilal's done a great job of building this fight in terms of promo, the interviews, the stuff he's been saying. I know people have clipped out a part of my interview with him where he talked me through what he was going to do, and it's gone extremely crazy lately, especially in this fight week. So what's going to happen to Belal if he loses, and that clip is going to turn around. It's either going to be the greatest clip or the most embarrassing clip. I think Belal's done a great job of building this fight up. Leon's now done a lot of media. He's talking about a potential move to middleweight. I'm getting excited for it. I'm not going to lie. I fly to Manchester tomorrow. I am interested in seeing the way the fight's going to play out based off of the way both of these guys spoke. Now, is the fight necessarily going to deliver in terms of entertainment value? I don't know. Some people believe Bilal's path to victory is to press him against the cage and try to get him down. If Leon resists, not going to deliver the most entertaining fight in the world. If they both stand and trade, it could, because the first fight, the first round was fun, right? I don't know, you can agree or disagree. So the first fight wasn't trending to be boring in my opinion, but I don't know. I think there are a lot of little pieces, bits and pieces that have me excited.
You're right to point out round one. It was looking like a landslide in favor of Edwards. And I think too many people hang on to that. But since then, I thought Belal Muhammad's done wonderful. And that's why I think it's going to be a lot tougher of a fight than if you were to base it just on round one. DraftKings, BetMGM, Caesars, all the major sites, they got odds anywhere from minus 225 to minus 250 for the favorite Edwards. That looks like if you just base it on round one, but if you base it on their overall resumes, like I say, Muhammad, I think has really, really looked a lot better coming in at plus 190, plus 185. What do you think, Matt Wells? Are you pretty pumped up about this thing? And I'm glad Fada pointed it out. Edwards also makes it tough to get excited about his bouts because he doesn't seem excited. He doesn't do much promotion. He kind of phones it in. It seems like up until when it's time to get down, he's badass there.
Yeah, he lets his fighting do the talking for the most part. But I mean, if you watch his interviews, like his pre-fight stuff, like he's a funny dude, right? Like I enjoy his interviews, sitting down and listening to him, especially when he gets the questions that really get a good reaction out of him. But as far as the fight itself goes, I think it's gonna have the potential to be one of the best fights of the year, in my opinion, because these are two very, very high level welterweights that can do it all, right? especially if we get the Bilal Muhammad that showed up against Sean Brady. That aggression was on point. His striking was on point, just accurate, very clean, smooth technique. If that guy shows up against Leon Edwards, we could be in like for one of the best fights. Like I said, I expect this, to go into the later rounds. I don't see any easy like an early finish. There could be a finish in the later rounds, like fourth or fifth round, but I expect it to be a very close fight early on. I wouldn't be surprised if the first round is a little bit slow paced to kind of feel each other out, but I am very excited for the potential of what this fight could be. I'm very excited about it. I mean, Leon on home soil again. He's going to have the crowd like that. That arena is going to be rocking for him. It's just going to be a great atmosphere, I think. And Belal, man, like as I'll get into in a little bit here, big opportunity for him here. So I'm really excited for what this could be.
Joseph Boza in the chat room says, I feel for Bilal that he had to wait 13 months because he was a victim of Dana not wanting him to get a title shot. Karate Ted Toon says, Bilal knows this is his last chance at gold and could win. Lazy Bed says, Bilal is dialed in, going to sleep at 7 a.m. and waking up at 3 p.m. Just reported it on the Anakin Florian an hour ago. And going back to what Fada said, you can catch any of those interviews here on the YouTube channel. Just go back and search through the videos and check out how much content, free content, is there and available for you if you hit the subscribe button and hit the like on the video. It'll definitely help this show grow. We always get positive feedback all the time. So if it's your first time or if you're a regular, hit that like button. It really means a lot to you. I'm asking nicely. I'm going to stick with Matt here. What about Aspinall versus Blaydes? Interim title at stake. Aspinall will get his pay-per-view points. He's defending his interim title. But can he do anything special enough that he would leapfrog Stipe Miocic and get himself into a title shot against John Jones? And if so, what would it take, Matt Wells?
An act of God at this point. I mean, Jesus, the guy's defending an interim title. Like, why? What are we doing here? What are we actually doing here, UFC? Come on. He can go out there and knock out Curtis Blaydes, and it's not going to matter because Dana White, John Jones, and Stipe Miocic are the only people in the world that want that fight to happen. And so it's going to happen, apparently. And Tom Aspinall is just going to be left on the sidelines, watching it happen. I hope he shows up to that fight cage side and just stands up the whole time. You remember that iconic shot of Conor McGregor just standing up on just mean mugging like that. I hope that's what he does. And after the fact, just questions everything and throws everybody under the bus.
Matt, every day that goes by, it's sillier and sillier that's not even happening. But correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I just feel like the UFC's kind of backed into a corner. We're all saying the same thing. Fighters are saying the same thing. But when we do that, isn't that when the UFC's at their most stubborn? So I'm kind of with Matt. Like, even if Aspinall comes out and does something amazing, I think they're just so backed into a corner and they want to make that double paycheck, by putting together that Stipe fight. I think they're just going to stick to their guns, man. I feel bad for Aspinall over it.
I think Aspinall's going to do something special. The crowd's going to be rocking. So that's my prediction. I think he's going to beat Blaydes. I think it's going to be tough, though. But at the end of the day, man, those are some loud crowds out in England. And I think Dana should pay attention. He should get him to fight John Jones. Sorry, Miocic. Maybe you can get winner, I guess, at that point. But I just don't see any point in having those other two fight anymore. I don't see anything. How about you, Fada? You want to chime in?
Yeah, I was gonna say, according to BetMGM, Aspinall's a minus 400 favorite over Blaydes, which means if he runs through him, which he's done in a lot of his fights, Aspinall, those quick TKOs, is that really gonna make Dana White go, okay, I want him to fight John Jones? No, there's nothing he can do. The only
minus
way,
400?
yeah, right, yeah. The only situation this could happen is if they announce Jones and Stipe officially, the event is there, the tickets are sold, and God forbid Stipe has to withdraw, maybe then. But then if John Jones says no and the event gets canceled, no, I'm kidding. But I mean,
John Jones doesn't take short notice fights, so yeah, that would happen.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, no, the answer is no.
This is crazy, man, that we're even considering all this. I mean, like I say, that should have happened last November. We couldn't stomach it last November. We're talking about it this November, and the fight's not even booked yet. It's still up in the air. Who knows? We're waiting on this injury. I don't know. All right, the rest of the card is solid. We just don't have enough time to go over it all, right? But I want to know, guys, who has the most to gain from this entire card, UFC 304, taking place on Saturday? Go back to Farah on this one.
Who has the most to gain? Maybe Curtis Blades, because I just read the odds there, and I don't think a lot of people are picking him to win. He could insert himself. I mean, he is in the title conversation. He's fighting for the interim title, right? So he'd become interim champion. But the reality is, nobody knows. If we don't think Aspinall is going to get John Jones, I highly doubt people think Blades would if he wins. But definitely a lot to gain being that big of an underdog and putting yourself finally, like becoming an interim champion, obviously, and then whatever happens with Stian, Blaydes has reiterated it, saying that he thinks this is for the real belt. He just probably believes that he beats Aspinall. He's the champion because he just doesn't think the winner of Jones and Stipe will continue fighting. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's my long-winded answer for me saying Curtis Blaydes.
Most the game goes at UFC 304.
I think if you look at it long term, I think it's Tom Aspinall. He's just got to keep that going. There's the pot at the end of the rainbow is so big. I think it's for him. It's him.
Mm-hmm. All right, Matt, who has the most to gain at UFC 304 on Saturday?
It's got to be Belal. You know, this 9-fight unbeaten streak, which coincidentally is the same streak that Leon had before he won the title, right? So, listen, you got to go, 9 fights unbeaten. Obviously, the no contest is in the middle there. If you lose your shot, you're not going to get another one. Unless if something crazy happens at the top of the division, people start getting injured and stuff like that. You got to think this is your last shot, so you got to go all the way out. If you're Belal Muhammad, this is the chance, this is the shot. You only got one shot, man. He's got to take advantage of it.
And Matt, not to get political or anything, but this would also be a huge stage if he just wanted to say something towards what's going on in he's Palestinian is what I'm trying to say in that war. This could be a big moment for him because I know that means a lot to him. But yeah, I agree, man. His road to the title has been so long. Wow. He could really maximize it if he were to win. I'm going to say Aspinall, but for different reasons. I just think he's on the cusp of being a major star. British heavyweights in boxing have done tremendous, and he has a little bit of that swag. He's got some skills. He's young. Man, I just think this could be really, really huge for him. The stage is set because it's a home game for him. So, and the pressure is mounting on that Jones Miocic matchup. Who has the most to lose, Matt Wells?
Ooh, the most to lose, Tom Aspinall. Listen,
Okay.
you're in an interim heavyweight title defense fight because the promotion doesn't want you to unify the title. You're fighting on home soil, and you're fighting against a guy that technically has a win over you already, right? Even though it was, that freak injury. If you do not win this fight, everything that you just mentioned, George, goes away. At least for now, for like a year or two, right? After the John Jones and, Stipe Miocic stuff settles out and John retires or whatever the case may be, then Aspinall has to look at rematches and, building his way back up. But all of that stuff you just mentioned goes out the window for the foreseeable future, right now. So huge stakes for Tom Aspinall.
I think it's Muhammad Mokaev, undefeated overall, like 11-0, 6-0 in the UFC. He's right there. He already got jumped over by Urseg. This one's at home. Manel Kopp is another guy he can take out of the way, right? So I think he's got a lot to lose because if he loses, he's just going to get sent down in the pecking order. This could cost him 2 years. And in a shallow division like flyweight, someone else can charge up the ranks. He just doesn't seem to be well liked, and that's all I can think of for getting passed over. What about you guys?
Look, week after week, I tell people tune into the show and take part in the chat. Right? There's a question here that Beavis and Butthead has. Question from MMA Junkie: which British fighter has the highest chance to lose in their home country? I'm going to tie that into your question, George, because it's kind of the same answer for me. It's Paddy Pimblett, right? Depending on what it is he really wants to do. Remember, his contract's up. There's a lot on the line here. If he loses and his goal is to go out and do some boxing outside of MMA, it's catastrophic. He won't be able to do that, right? If his goal is to stay in the UFC and become a champion, yes, it's going to sting. It's going to hurt, but it wouldn't annihilate that plan. But money-wise, re-signing new contract, I think there's a lot on the line for Paddy Pimblett and a lot to lose here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he has the highest chance of all the Brits there.
Yeah, he can lose a lot, especially pitching, because who knows what directions he might go in. But once you go into free agency off a win, God, so many doors open for you. How about you, Fada? Who has the most to lose at UFC 304?
My answer is Tom Aspinall. I agree with Matt Wells, but so Beavis and Butthead doesn't kill us, as he the one that's been talking about us addressing Arnold Allen and Giga Chikadze. Yeah, Arnold Allen probably has a lot to lose too, so I'll cover that fight a little bit so he doesn't kill us. He's on a 2 fight losing streak. He was on a great winning streak. A lot of people felt like maybe he could have gotten a title shot out of it. You know, we talked about Belal Muhammad and his winning streak and how long he had to wait. And then he's on a 2 fight losing skid. He loses to a lower ranked Giga Chikadze. That's really going to set him back. So there's me doing my due diligence and covering it a little bit.
He's like minus 245, Chikadze plus 200. But yeah, Arnold Allen, what I like about him is he seems to be a good, quiet, humble kid. And I think those losses definitely made him better. He was on an incredible win streak outside the UFC, inside the UFC. But he's got a lot of heart, man. Even in his losses, he's had a lot of heart. I think those are going to make him better. Giga Chikadze, you know, he got pieced up by Calvin Cater, then took some time off. But man, that guy's always been a very, very dangerous striker. I really, really like that fight. I'm leaning towards, it pains me to say this because I really like Giga. I love what he's done for communities in Southern California, worldwide. But Arnold Allen's a stud, man. He really is the real deal. And I think he's going to have his hand raised on Saturday night.